Stephen, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Well, Stephen, tell us a bit about your background and also where you came from and what you're doing now in the industry.
So my name is Steven Carney. I am a food service and meal delivery consultant. I've been in the food and beverage industry for a very long time. I started out in the hotel business, did about 15 years in hotels, worked in restaurants for 10 years, and worked with a food management company for another 10 years. And I've also worked with a equipment uh, company for 5 years. Now, 6 years now, I'm sorry.
Very
And
good.
right now, I'm just a consultant that I help with a number of different people with food service equipment.
Very good. Odell.
That is awesome. Hey, Jerry, glad to be with you another time. And Stephen, welcome to our podcast. We truly appreciate you joining us. Hey, just want to kick it off, Stephen, by asking you a quick question. Why is it important to have an efficient patient tray line layout design? What's your thoughts on that?
So one of the biggest advantages to making sure that you have an efficient line, and we know in this particular industry, the tray line in this area is pretty much the heartbeat of the entire kitchen operation when it comes to the patient meals and ensuring that those folks get what they order and what they would like to have, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So speed and accuracy is probably going to be the first thing that I would consider as top or priority. Speed in reference to the industry average, where you're able to prepare 3 trays per minute, which is the actual goal that you may want to get to when you rate yourself and ensure that your speed is as best as it can be. Accuracy meaning that the tray is going to have exactly what the patient has ordered. It has all of the actual items, the meal, the whole 9 yards. 95% or higher is where you want to be in tray accuracy, which helps to ensure that you exact the results that you need. The second thing is in actually your tray line, you want to be able to control your temperatures, and in controlling temperatures and ensuring that your tray line has the necessary heating equipment. You want to make sure that it's laid out correctly. You also want to make sure that the cold temperature, the cold area has the actual proper equipment as well. Those pieces of equipment have to be laid out in a particular fashion where it's easy for those guys to be able to get to, and it creates a really good flow as they're preparing that particular meal.
Hey, Stephen, I got a question. You bring up a
Yes,
good
sir.
point. So in your history, what do you normally see out there? What type of meal delivery are they doing in most of the hospital accounts you visit?
There's a few, Jerry. The most popular one are pod setups, and a pod setup is where kind of a T-shaped setup where you may have the steam table, and then you have the two pods come out as a T. You potentially would have a starter station in the very middle, and on each side of that starter station, the actual staff member would actually be making the actual meals or the trays in that particular area. They would make the tray up, start it up, grab the meal out the window, get the cold items, and then those cold items will actually go into the cart. The second one, which is kind of an older one, the tray line setup. And a tray line is kind of a straight line setup where you kind of start at the very end, it goes down a conveyor line, and there's a number of individuals that would put the necessary needed items on the tray. And as it gets to the very end of the line, there's a checker or an individual that verifies everything on the tray. He or she will check the tray and then put it into the actual cart itself. The one that most people are moving toward now is a room service type operation. And the biggest advantage to room service is more so for the patient themselves because it's a much more at ease and ordering and streamlined process for the patient. And what happens if it's a, let's say if it is a room service operation, the patient can actually pick up the phone and call the call center, put in his or her order, and then that ticket gets printed right at the line. Those guys make the meal. It prints on the other side. They'll create the tray, and then so on and so forth until it actually makes it up to the patient's room. But those three are generally the three that are out in the industry right now.
That's awesome. Hey, Stephen, I'm just wondering, what results can be achieved with an efficient tray line design for the end user, for the operator?
One of the biggest things, it's the most important result that a facility is looking for is how to improve their patient satisfaction score. Um, Most hospitals or healthcare, acute care, sometimes nursing home facilities, there's a survey that the patients will fill out at the end of his or her stay, right? Most facilities will have a question that will have a food service question on it. And that question can vary from quality to temperature to courtesy, or how well the server came to the room, how well the service was. And at the end of the day, the most important part of it is how to boost that score as high as you can. And food service is a huge contributor from the very bottom to getting an overall top score for the hospital itself. Just in what I've understood, a 4 point increase in food service is almost a 4 to 5 point increase on the top score for the hospital itself.
Hmm,
At
Wow,
the
I
end of
didn't
the
know that.
day,
me either.
having having the patient satisfaction score improve, which really helps the hospital because it helps with hospital reimbursements. And the better the score, the higher the score, the more of a reimbursement that you can get. That's pretty much the biggest thing on ensuring that, to help this line, ensure that we can boost that patient satisfaction score. And overall, it helps to better the patient experience.
Right. Well,
Wow.
that's a lot to consider. So you had three different avenues you can approach: a pod, a straight tray line, say with a conveyor, and
Yep.
um, and then also room service. So if you take into account all that, which is the most efficient? Would that be the pod, or and my thoughts are that room service can be a little bit more expensive. Is that a makeup of the equipment and also the process? Do you have to have more labor? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
So on the room service side, there is somewhat of a potential labor increase, because what that means is you wouldn't be filling the carts up as a if you had a 20 tray cart, you wouldn't necessarily be waiting to fill that cart as you would in a pod setup. So in a room service setup, most operations run where that tray is made, it goes into the cart, and it'll sit for 10 minutes. So
Hmm.
in 10 minutes, if one tray is in that cart or 10 trays are in the cart, after 10 minutes, they take off. So it's a lot more labor intensive because now you have a lot more people that will need to move those carts, right?
Right.
It's not necessarily more equipment needed, but I would believe there's more labor that would be involved in it. I don't think there's any much more increase on the cook side or individuals preparing the meals. I think it's more of the individuals that would need to deliver it and retrieve the dirty trays and things of that nature. On the pod side, that is probably a more lean operation on the pod side, because you can produce more trays in that pod setup versus you having to do the 1 to 2 trays and only put out 1 or 2 at in 10 minutes. You can produce 20 trays within 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of the cart, and then those trays can kind of go up. Most operations are set up now where the same individuals that retrieve those new items for that are preparing those trays. So in that sense, if I took Mr. Gabbert's meal for breakfast, at least I know going in he likes to have eggs. He likes to have ketchup with his eggs,
Yeah,
because I'm the person who's actually taking that meal order, as well as making that tray. So
that makes a
yes.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So Stephen, what's the benefits for the patients with using the room service model?
Well, you're going to get that meal. The idea is to get that meal much quicker. It's much quicker, number one, and then number two, it's the ease of the patient being able to place that order for it. Some operations have it where we call the host hostess, where an individual comes in and takes a meal order from them. If it's a non-room service setup, that individual will take those menu items. They'll go all the way from floor 5 to maybe floor 4. Then they'll input them into their probably an iPad, and it gets rotated down into the office. And then those guys will print the tickets. They'll produce all of the tickets on that particular floor, and then bring them up to the room. In a true room service operation, if I'm the hostess and I go into your room, Mr. Warren's room, and you want a ham and cheese sandwich, as soon as I put it into my iPad, it goes directly to the call center, and your meal is being worked on right then and there. So within that time, you probably will be getting that meal within anywhere from the industry standard is 60 minutes from the time of request, but you can something like that. Most operations practice a 45-minute delivery time after menu item being placed.
Great. So, guys, we've got a couple minutes left,
Okay.
and I want to wrap this up a little bit, Stephen, with your thoughts on Trayline design. Tell me a little bit about your knowledge and background and how you can produce CAD drawings or things of that nature to help visualize how a food nutrition department can put this together to make it become a reality.
Sure. One of the very first things that I actually do is try to identify what the need is, right? And to see exactly what their concern may be. If they're having an issue with, serving 100 trays and it's taking them 2 hours to do it, whether they're having tray accuracy issues, things of that nature, that kind of is where the ball starts to roll. Once we can figure out and identify what the concerns are, I'll go in and take pictures of the actual area. I'll take some measurements of the actual space to figure out what can actually fit there. Once I do that, we can actually then come up with an actual design, whether it be a schematic as well as a 3D design that can kind of help them say and show them, hey, this is the best suggestion that we would have for your operation in this space. Now, of course, some customers may feel like, well, we may want to do this. And I always let them know, hey, this is just a suggestion. This is what we would think is the best and most efficient way to run this particular operation.
Awesome. That's great, Stephen. Odell, any parting words just in about 10, 15 seconds before we wrap up?
Hey, thanks, Jerry. Stephen, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. And I know that it will definitely help some folks out there in the industry. Thanks a lot, Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen, appreciate it.
Gentlemen,
And,
thank you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And we'll have you on again sometime in the future. And folks, we're the meal delivery experts, and today we featured Steven Carney. And we'd like to ask you to make sure you click, follow, and share this video for more content on our podcast, The Meal Delivery Experts.